All right, everybody, welcome to Mountain Panorama, otherwise known as Bathurst. It's going to be a crazy night tonight. That's all I can say. It's going to be a wild night. Something to look forward to. The man just went past the screen. Shane Hall going for his. As you look at him, Shane's going through for his fourth straight road course win. Of course, Laguna Seca at Road America. He led all laps and then went to Arca. When we went to Lime Rock, ended up winning there. Right now, he is second quickest over Mike Hauser. But this is a course. It's going to be a course unlike any other. Plain and simple. It's going to be unlike anything these drivers have faced. Because right now, Mike Hauser right now has the fastest position in practice right now. You see Shane going through. And he is off course right at the end of turn 23. And of course, it's just going to be one of these things everybody's going to struggle with. Gordon Glidewell from Midnight Racing League, he is in the field. You see 1-to-1 struggling right there. That is going to be a very difficult spot, as you can already look and tell. If one car goes around, it's going to be not good for anybody behind him. Cade Kenny in the same spot in the Chase Elliott throwback Unity first. As I'm being joined in the booth by Robert Wilhoit, the newest right-hand man and head official right below Elijah Fisher. Robert, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you doing?
All right, I'm going to get my screen up for you here. Robert, I was just telling the viewers tonight it is going to be unlike any race we've seen tonight. And we're just going through looking. A lot of drivers are having issues with this track. Just saw Shane Hart spin. Devin Hernandez spins off the last corner. Just what do you think the key tonight's going to be, especially for the playoff hopefuls?
Patience is going to be big.
Oh, Colton.
And choosing your moments. So
And we're
it's definitely a tight track, and if you like action, I predict we'll have a lot of it tonight.
Oh, yeah, a minute ago here, several big names have not posted a lap, mainly due to incidents. Cade Kennan, Stephen Henning, Gordon Glidewell, new to Inspired, not new to Midnight Racing League. Robert, you know him very well. And then Jason Williams, one of the playoff hopefuls with 2 races remaining, has not posted a lap.
Yeah, this track is going to be a very, very difficult for some of these drivers.
Extremely difficult. I apologize for the audio issue. I just realized that I didn't have something set right. So now that we got some actual car sounds, as the moment I turn back on, your count goes back up from 2 to 5. 6 seconds ago, Mike Hauser holding the fastest time for practice. And of course, you look through the field, the highest running of the playoff hopeful, Robert Giorno sitting in 4th, comes into the night -5. We'll show that graphic later on. Do you think that he can potentially just keep it together one more time? Because we're going to be going to one of his favorite tracks, Daytona, next week.
Oh yeah, as long as he can keep his focus, and race the track and not race the others, I think he will have a really good showing. I know in practice I was kind of jumping in all the channels, letting everybody know, telling them good luck tonight and all that. And when he posted his fastest lap, he was kind of shocked that he was up there in the top 5. But um, I think that he will have a good night as long as he can keep those fenders clean.
I believe he will too. As you look at him now on the track. And of course, need I remind everybody tonight, he does come into the night just 5 points after Indy. He is there. Comes into the night 10th in points, believe it or not. I shall pull that up for everybody to see. There you see it. 10th in points, -5 from the cut line coming into tonight. And of course, he's only looking just to survive. He did great at Laguna Seca. He did great at Road America. Little incidences at Road America, but nonetheless rebounded. He actually had issues at Laguna Seca. Australian whiskey. Interesting. Right now, nobody's really posted a qualifying lap. It might take a minute. A few drivers already having issues on there. Darcy Har, a 2X. We'll see what happened to Darcy. And it's the same corner, Robert, that everybody's having an issue with. Is that one section. See, right there, Jason.
That section's gonna be tough. If you're good at dirt tracks and you're able to control a car drifting like that, I think that you'll do pretty good. But some of these guys that are not dirt drivers or don't have that experience, they're gonna have a tough time through that area there.
Look at Elijah Fisher. Now he is comfortably into tonight. He's comfortably in the playoff after his emotional win at the Brickyard. Able to out-strategize the rest of the field, but I don't think strategy is going to really play a factor in this here tonight. Maybe if you can...
No, tonight will be a survival of the fittest. Is the way that it seems like.
You can tell Elijah has ran this track. He's been doing his practice because we're right on board with him now. And this is the scary part right here that I worry about tonight as race control, and I'm sure a lot of drivers, how narrow this track is. Because one driver goes around in front of somebody, it's not going to be great. And the last thing anybody wants to see is some cautions from tonight. Good Lord, most of that throttle.
You're definitely through that area, as you can hear. He's definitely playing with the throttle and the brake to. I think getting the brake, or hitting the brake at the right time with not hitting it too hard, you're gonna get that turn that you need to in and out of those corners, and then just pretty much in patty cake with that throttle is. And this part here is gonna be the hardest braking zone I feel like on the entire track.
I feel like it is too. Heck, if he's still available as Colton Ward, top of the board. We'll try to get an interview with some of these drivers later on if they're available to see what their thoughts on the track. You see Elijah Fisher, top of the board. I mentioned top of the broadcast, the one everybody's gunning to beat is this man right here. If he is supposed to, he is on track. Shane Hard going for 4 straight road course wins, combined with both series, but going for his 3rd straight in the Cup Series after a dominant performance. What do you think? I'm biased as need I say more. Shane Hart top of the board. But what do you think separates Shane from the rest of these drivers being able to just take on these road courses?
I think it's just his experience on road courses, understanding how how to take the turns, how to protect his tires. Um, the big key is we'll have to watch and see is can he keep his focus. Um, we've seen it multiple times earlier in the year that he'd be running away with it and then just have a mental judgment error and cost him. So his focus is definitely going to have to be on point tonight, hitting the marks and keeping in it. As you see there, he got a little loose.
Just a little screw. And of course, Shane Hart coming into the night, 5 wins, comfortably, actually locked into the playoffs. We will show that graphic a little later after qualifying gets done. Meanwhile, let's try to find one of the playoff hopefuls coming into tonight. Who is the highest running of the playoff of? Well, we already talked about Jordan. Tell you one that just jumped up. Well, 7th quickest as Jorno pulls it in here. Mike Hauser, he'll slide in the 4th. And I'm trying to get a quick word with somebody in here. Let's see here. You know what? I know somebody to really talk to. And I'll pull him in here because I know he's busy. I know he ain't busy.
And we got Hernandez.
We
Oh,
do.
go ahead.
Real quick, we got Josh Henderson. You got a copy? Josh Henderson, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoyd up here in the booth. You got a copy? I see he's been taking after Shane a little bit. All right, we'll try to get a word with Josh here in a little bit. Of course, well, you say you want to pull in Hernandez?
Well, I was saying Hernandez jumped to P6th on the board right as we were pulling in Josh, and then Stephen Henning took over 7th, which dropped Jorno down to 8th.
Here's a driver who is pretty much putting all his chips in the next week at Daytona. That is the 95 Brent Hammerhand. So he goes 12th quickest and off the track for a second lap and done before it even gets started. And you know what? I don't think I've interviewed this joker since he got his win at Daytona earlier this year. I think, Robert, what do you think? You think we ought to interview Brent real quick?
Oh, bring him on in.
Brent Hammerhand, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoyd up here in the booth. You got a copy? Well, darn, everybody's quiet.
Yeah, I got you guys. What's
okay, up? There's somebody. Okay, got him.
Oh, I'm muted. I'm here.
Buddy, this is the first interview I think I've done with you since your win at Daytona at the very first race of the season. Of course, me and Robert know you very well. We know that even though you come into the night tied for the 8th seed, that you're really just chilled about it, not really worried about it. But is there a little bit of pressure, just a little bit, coming into tonight, knowing the situation?
I mean, yes and no. I'm a little worried about it, but then I have Daytona next week. You know, I mean, obviously good there. Have great teammates that are gonna help. You know, we're gonna make that work. I'm not too concerned, honestly. It's a tight track. There's some tight S's. I think I'd rather be back here in the back where I qualified. I think a lot of people are gonna wreck.
Real quick, because we just saw, unfortunately, we caught it on the broadcast. You went into, and folks, I apologize. This is what it's really called, but you went into Hale's Corner. Do you think Hale's Corner and Murray's Corner, are they going to be the big issues, or do you think it's going to be all messes?
No, turn 3, turn 4, and then 17 and 18. they're going to be a mess.
Robbie, got
People
any-
aren't going to get woed up. They're not going to get woed up for them.
Yeah, we've actually already seen that. Robbie, got any quick questions for him?
Yeah. How do you feel about a new winner tonight? Besides it being a Shane Har or Elijah Fisher show.
I mean, I love both the boys. It all depends on how hard they get ran, honestly. Because if you get too stressed and too ran out, you're gonna get wrecked. That's just how it's gonna go. You know, you're gonna either wreck yourself or you're gonna get ran over. Trying to overbreak.
Yeah, that's the kind of feeling I've gotten tonight so far.
Yep.
Watching practice and everything. But I know we're getting ready to start the pace laps here, so we'll get you
Yes,
back
sir.
down there and appreciate your time.
Thank you, boys. You boys have a good night.
Ever gonna switch up the paint?
Pull me in whenever you need me. I don't care.
All right, bud. I got you.
You buddy.
All right. Have a good night, boys.
You too, boss. Brent
You
Hamlin
too.
and starting in the back, but got a fast car tonight. Appreciate it. What I tell you, I told
Yeah,
you.
I said, are we ever gonna
told-
switch up the paint schemes, or is this like the good luck charm when it comes to these
I
races?
told you that he was putting all of his hats into one
that
basket.
good luck charm. I can't get away from it.
But yeah.
Real fast. Race control's got to do his little intro here. All right, everybody. I'm glad to see everybody got their passports. Came all the way to Australia for tonight. 3 sets of tires, 2 in the pits. You already got 1 set on, obviously. 35 laps. Pace car speed limit 55 mile an hour. And this is kind of unusual, but pit speed limit is 31 miles an hour. Don't know what the difference is between that, but 1 fast repair tonight. Everybody be smart, be patient. Let's put on a good show.
Add the lap, 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 add the lap.
I don't know why, but okay, then we're going to add the lap here. Well, while we're adding the lap, we can pretty much interview everybody in this time. So let's get the pole sitter in here. Shane R, Garrett Jenkins up here in the booth. You got a copy?
I do, buddy. What's up?
Well, telling Robert, top of the show, you're looking to make history, going 4 straight in total, and really looking to go 3 in a row in the Cup Series on road courses. How do you feel like your chances are tonight?
Well, I kind of surprised myself in qualifying there. That's probably the fastest lap that I've hit practice at all this week. So, if we keep hitting them laps, I don't know. We're going to be a little short on fuel here. I'm showing 14, so you might see me saving a little fuel early. I'm not real sure yet. We'll see how this plays out, but we hope to come home with a win again. 4 in a row would be awesome. So
happen at the
we'll see
last
what happens.
course we did. Do the little
As we
hard
got
riding
cars
I
right
got a
at the
question.
Please not have it happen
Go
tonight.
ahead. Go ahead.
Got a question for you though. Starting on the
trying in the back?
front row with that number 4,
I would recommend don't have to be too
and you know he likes to run hard and push. How do you control the field with him trying to do that?
Hopefully you didn't get. I don't think you got anything out.
The biggest thing, I mean, if he gets a good jump on me, I'll probably let him go into 1, honestly, and then, maybe wait for a mistake, or, maybe we'll get a run on him sometime later on. So we're going to take it real patient here, wait for people to make mistakes, and hopefully we don't make any of our own, and that's about all there is to it.
Alrighty. Well, we'll get you back down into your team chat, and appreciate your time here on this pace lap before you guys take the green.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show.
Well, Shane Hart starting first, going for win number 6 of the season, and more importantly, his 3rd straight win, as we'll take that away. A little bit of an incident in the back of the field during that, being sure everybody was pulled up. And we'll make this Alright, it looks like I'll just put up a quick bulletin. Is everybody going to be able to get caught up here after whatever happened on the other side of the track, Captain?
I got caught up.
Okay. Well then, we're good then. This Robert distracts.
Yeah, it
Nash-
should be good, Garrett. I'm just trying to avoid any pre-race extras.
You see Robert looking at the race info. We're in Australia. We're in the Bathurst. 3.8 miles, actually shorter than Road America. But look at the layout of it on the track map here. A lot of places for drivers to get into any issues.
Are we doing another lap
Oh yeah,
of caution?
it's definitely going to be a tight race. Tight race, and I would say we are for sure going to start seeing some more banging.
For sure.
So,
well, we have the opportunity, Robert. We're going to go ahead and pull up the points. 2 races coming into the night remaining before the playoffs next week, Daytona. And you see quite a interesting scenario going into the night. Kay Cannon, Stephen Henning, congratulations to both drivers. They have officially clinched after their runs at Indianapolis. But you see, Robert, if you can't see it, I don't know if you can see it on. I know you can see the overlay. I don't know if you can see the points here, but Josh Henderson, he comes in only 8 to the good. If you're with us during pace last, Brent Hammerhand and Chris Lowe come in tied for that 8th seed. Jordan Jorno, the incredible rally in trying to get to the front, trying to get into a playoff berth, continues out by 5. Jason Williams, the long shot coming into the night, but realistically very eligible. He comes in 16 points out. With that being said, Robert, you want to try Josh Henderson one more time?
yeah, let's try him. Hopefully we can get him in here.
Hopefully so. Josh Henderson, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. Do you have a copy this time?
Yeah, didn't know you tried to talk to me before.
Yeah, we tried to find that at the top of the
Probably
show.
when I was using the restroom.
Oh, brother. Oh, God.
You know, you get these road course races, you got to kind of relieve yourself before it's log, and takes forever to get around these
Yeah,
things.
we definitely don't need an incident like what they had in the Mexico City road course race, where one of the drivers had to take some medicine to keep his stomach under control.
Yeah, heard about that.
Well, Josh, question for you at top of the show coming into tonight. You come in only 8 after a disappointing Indianapolis last week. Do you have what it takes to just try to stay afloat here going into the always unpredictable
I hope
Daytona?
everyone kept the cars heavy, because with some of those hills, if you're a very light
Yeah,
car, you may
I
be
think
go flying.
I'm going to take the same approach I do with every road course, and we're just going to try to keep all 4 fenders on it and be there at the end and let some attrition take place, and hopefully squeak away with the top 10 here.
Robert, you got any questions
If
for me?
anyone just got damaged behind me,
No,
know
just
why
want to
people
say
shut
good
them up
luck,
so much.
and excited to see how the race goes for you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
I'm good, at least. I don't know about anybody else.
And with that being said, I hope I just did not lose connection, because I'm dealing with a aggravating cat at the moment. It's Josh Henderson. Josh, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. He's already in there. Robert, just hold on to the broadcast real quick. I got to take care of something.
Oh, you're good. So we're just riding around with Josh Henderson here, trying to get back up to the field. We should be taking a green this time by, so it's going to be a big shootout going into that turn 1, and that's going to be a big big spot where we're going to see how the racing will be going for
All right, I am back.
for the night.
Robert, I apologize.
Oh, yeah, no, you're good.
You're good. Welcome back. Welcome back.
FYI, boys.
Technical
anyone
difficulties,
around me,
but
I'm taking
we'll get
it
there.
easy going
More
around
like a
here this
cat
first
issue.
lap.
Real quick, starting a grid for tonight that I have not done yet. Shane Horror on pole, Light Official second, Colton Ward third. Mike Hauser starts fourth. Kate Kenny rounds out the top 5. Robert, you want to take care of the top 10?
Yep. Thomas Hernandez in 6th. Stephen Henning Jr. Qualified 7th. You got Jordan Jorno in 8th. Chris Lyota qualified 9th. Jason Williams 10th. Hunter Azell in 11th, and Brent Hannaran in 12th.
On back through the field. Darcy Harr starting 13th. Aaron Stanton, Jarvis Anderson, and Gordon Glywell did not make qualifying. And one more time.
As you can see here, the lights are off on the pace car, so we will be going green this time coming to the line. It's going to be a big shootout on who's going to get that jump between Shane Harr and Eliza Fisher. The biggest thing is when they get into that braking zone to take turn 1, hopefully everybody else behind them will be on those brakes a little early and give everybody plenty of room going into turn 1. So here we go, green flag going.
Shane Harr, Eliza Fisher. A great jump. We're going to go into turn 1, Hales Corner. Shane, oh, they're already going around.
Oh, Mike Hauser already around. And that's what I was talking about. Who is going to give who the room going into that turn 1?
Sorry for hitting you when you got loose, Mike.
And already not a great start.
And we got some more right there after turn 1.
Sorry.
That's 3 cars, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
And this is what I was afraid of tonight. Already under our first caution, because new ruling states that we haven't had to use all since we incorporated the rules, but 3 cars or more involved in a wreck, we have to automatically throw a full course caution, and God almighty, not what we wanted to see early. Let's see what happens. So, net code. Look back at it here, and ultimately, you know, you can say, well, actually, let's just restart here from the very beginning. So up to the front, we'll look at Mike Hauser.
See everybody kind of. Yeah, I think Mike Hauser just didn't expect Shane Harr to break that hard
Question for the road
going
course
into
pros.
turn
How can
1.
you tell the difference between a full course and just a segment caution?
And then we'll
Blink
look at
versus
the
full, I think.
And you see right there, just a net. I don't even think Darcy
It'll
was
say
even going to
pacing
hit.
plus the pacing they will come
And
on your screen.
Ultimately,
If it's
few drivers
just
getting a
a
couple X's.
corner caution, it'll just come up with a yellow flag flashing.
So with that being said, God almighty, man.
Thanks, guys.
Already.
No problem.
Hales Corner's already turned out to be just that. And
I do believe we only have the full course caution on, so there wouldn't be any locals, I don't think.
No matter what, it shows you a local
as you
caution.
hear the drivers now trying to talk about the full course and yellow courses again.
It's always going to display if there's somebody spinning in front of you, so it'll pop that up as a yellow, but it's not going to tell you it's a full course because you'll hear the, oh, caution's out, otherwise it'll just tell you that there's a spinner ahead. And also you're going to probably see it a couple times throughout the race. If you get a red and yellow flag, that is just saying that there is debris on track.
Hunter in the grass, and yeah, so I regret even throwing that yellow now.
Yeah, that one's pretty hard to see out of the corner of your eye.
With that being said, Hunter Azell's going to try to get back to the pits here with it, take his fast repair, and
whoever the 19 is there, my bad. I thought it was just a segment cautions. My fault.
And I'm just, Robert, you still got a copy with me?
Dixie, I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, I'm still here. I'm just watching. It's going to be one of those nights.
You're looking at the Pacers game,
Oh,
so you got
like
something to look at.
payback.
I ain't really got much to look at other than
Flywheel.
them
Okay,
Pacers right
that's
now.
fun.
So that means their race control is ready to give his
At least I can laugh
review of
about
the
it because
caution.
that's what happened.
All right, so after review, there is net code between the 35 and the 95. A couple of drivers got a piece of the contact, resulting in the caution. It was reviewed extensively to where there would not have been contact between the 35 or the 95. So it is purely a net code, no EOLs. Thank you. And I wish it was the one in green already. So already.
Josh, you want to do me a favor and tell me how?
And while we have the time, I do want to say to the chat, welcome in. Appreciate you guys coming out every night that we have a race going on. Without you guys coming in and tuning in and cheering on these drivers,
Program the button for the spotter
it'd be
to
hard to do this. So definitely want to appreciate or show the appreciation. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, if you weren't here,
he's going to give you the as accurate as
get your popcorn, get your drinks, because this is going to be a show.
Grab a beer if you're old enough.
At this racetrack.
So you got brain
Kids
damage
stick
up
sodas.
underneath there on the left side,
As you
Chris.
see right
and
now,
the left rear is kind of crickled
for
up.
all you who drank
Right
Bush
rear
Light,
was fine.
Bush
It's just
Light
up
of
underneath,
Elijah
you can see
Fisher
the
out in front
axle and everything's tilted
for the
up.
moment. With that being said, while we're under caution, we'll go ahead and pull up the remaining schedule.
Yeah,
Obviously,
sorry about
tonight
that,
we're
dude.
in
I went to hit the brakes.
Bathurst,
my
Mountain
wheel,
Panorama,
the turn
whatever how you want to call it.
not go
Next
anywhere.
week, the final race.
I'm not blaming
for
you. I just
the 5
I've had it
hopefuls
happen to
coming
me.
into the night, hoping that tonight
by the way, Shane, I'm
and
just a neutral at the
next
moment.
week will be their night.
Took off
Daytona,
that much downhill.
may I say the full Daytona 400, 160 laps. Then the playoffs start
Penalty.
with
Wah,
Darlington.
wah.
And then
Runaway
Darlington on down. Atlanta, the old Atlanta Tire Management, Bristol, North Wilkesboro, New Hampshire, and Charlotte.
Mike's button's not working, Shane, but he says he's sorry
Before
for the
August
contact
11th,
earlier.
Miami, the Final Four. Robert, of the playoff races coming up, which one do you think's going to throw a wild card in all this?
Honestly, I think there's going to be two tracks in the playoffs that's going to throw some wild cards. I believe Bristol and North Wilkesboro, both short tracks, both close quarters. You're going to see a lot of banging, a lot of bumpers being used. And those ones there, it's going to be basically who can get out front and control everything and keep the car underneath them. So, as you can see here, Elijah almost made it into the pits, but decided at the very last second to get out. But Shane Har already pitting. I know pre-race it was. He was saying that he was only getting about 14 to 15 laps of fuel. So, wondering if this is a strategy on trying to get a extensive time in there to where he can stay out longer than others and do what he normally does, which is run away with these road courses.
Well, I mean, he played a very similar strategy in Daytona when he, of course, almost led every lap and finished the whole race. But Stephen Henning dared to capitalize on a last lap mistake. You see the scoring pylon on because it normally comes on after the first completed lap, but we ain't completed one under green. And look at look at the top 10, Robert.
Who's having fun at the downhill section right now?
You got Williams up there, a playoff hopeful, -16. Henderson down in 10th, Lyota in 8th. A lot of drivers that's on that bubble that somehow survived that mayhem. And we just hope that the mayhem just stops for a little while, long enough for a little bit of green flag action. Several drivers
on these restarts, it's gonna be
Robert,
gonna be tough.
I'm gonna have to intervene real quick here.
Nope.
You caused me to.
All right, guys, we're under caution here, and we're wrecking. Like, can we please just get caught up, and so we ain't got to extend this caution further than what we already have to. Until tonight's just gonna be little. And I hate being as stern as what I am right now, but cautions at road courses never fun, especially whenever they're over 3 miles long, just short of 4.
So I got a black screen for a moment there, and then it came back, and the color of things changed a little bit. It's not as dynamic. It's like a little bit darker. That was interesting.
You see Elijah Fisher have a technical issue with his computer. He had the same issue. He had the same issue last Saturday.
Or the graphics card.
So everybody appears to be getting caught up. Hunter Azell making his way through, but
I mean, the graphics card is new. So.
He's still got time to make it. But Robert, top 5, Fisher, Ward, Jorno, Hernandez, Cannon. Out of which one of these? Is there any favorites, or do you have a favorite down the list?
I can see, as I was saying during practice when we were talking about Jorno, if he can keep his focus and keep his fenders clean, I have a feeling, because he was running, top 4 times in practice. He has the speed. It's just a matter of navigating through this traffic and getting there. But I would definitely say he's one to watch. And don't count out Josh Henderson either. So I know he was.
How many laps are we pacing on here, Robert? One more thing. Does anybody have a 1 to green yet?
Getting it this time.
Or in a minute.
Jesus almighty.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, otherwise I'm going to take a lap
So.
away, because I'm getting sick of watching them pace here. 1 to green,
And the
finally.
light,
Hallelujah.
the 1 to green. There we go.
Finally, man.
So.
Let's see if we can make it past 1 corner. And ultimately.
So my question for you, Garrett, is: do you think that we'll be able to get through turn 1 without having any incidents where someone doesn't check up early enough, or
ultimately,
it doesn't run over the car in front of them?
Ultimately, if anything, that with what Shane did, that should be a wake-up call to
How did you get back to 9th?
to be like, hey, we need to try to make it through here, and if we can make 1 lap, all we gotta do is make it 1 lap where these drivers get spread out. Once they get spread out, then
Hey, Colton,
ultimately we're gonna
now.
get some
You know,
green
we're
flag
supposed to
racing
single
like
file.
these fans won't, but
So thank
It's
you,
just-
Shane, for giving us a charity by pitting. Why
it's
is it
just
legally
gonna
allowed?
be one of them things where they got to be able to make
But
it
I wanna
through
look
this
at my
course
phone.
at least 1 lap under green to get spread
Think so.
out.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
the time.
if they can get through turn 1, you're definitely going to start seeing them get into that single file and running. There's only certain spots in this track that, and I know you agree with me that we feel like we'll have a good chance of passing. This section that they're going through where all the S's are, that's going to be another key spot to kind of keep an eye on, because we saw cars in practice and qualifying basically drifting through there. So it's going to be very important for these drivers to pay attention to the car in front of them. If they see them starting to slide, make sure they give them plenty of room, be patient, and set themselves up for those areas where they can pass.
Let's pull in one driver real quick before we go green here. Steven Hidding, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, buddy, I know you're ready to go more than anybody here, so we're going to make this quick, and hopefully we don't have to throw another caution. But after the first corner, you think a lot of these guys are going to be a little more patient now and like expecting checkups.
I would hope so, but I mean, I don't know. They're itching at the bit to get going here, and a lot of pacing laps. They're getting antsy, so we'll see. I'm hoping everyone takes a chill pill and we can figure it the heck out, but we'll see.
Robert, got any questions?
Well, Steven, I know there's some big news dropping this week. Are you getting into that playoff mindset and ready to make a big push going into the playoffs here.
I'm hoping to, yeah. I'm hoping to score some points going into before the playoffs here. But I mean, if we don't, at least we're in as it is right now, so we can kind of just chillax now. We don't have to worry as much.
Alrighty. Well, we'll get you back down in there to your group, and good luck tonight, buddy.
All right, thank you. You guys have a good night up there.
You too, buddy. Steve Henning right now in 6th. So right now, as we get ready to go back green, hopefully longer than 500 feet. Well, actually I jumped the gun. We still got one more corner. We got Murray's Corner. Sounds like the corner of a tackle shop down there by the river. But regardless, we're getting set here. Going to be 31 to go. And Robert, we can hope today they'll just take it easy. A lot of guys already having to use a fast repair or have to repair damage here. Elijah Fisher brings it down. Colton Ward, we're rolling again. Lap 5, Fisher already a block. We'll see how it works out through here. A better corner for a lot of drivers.
Oh yeah.
Everybody really.
Yeah, now you're gonna start seeing them. You can see the front already getting into that single file, and it's pretty much almost single file all the way back now. So once it get on those restarts, it's gonna be, the key is gonna be having patience through that first turn, and then working to set yourself up, taking care of your equipment.
Yes, it is. And right now, so far, so good. Everybody going up the hill part of this racetrack. We're actually going to try to ride on board with, I believe this is the 72 of Josh Henderson. It is. One of the playoff hopefuls. And just, Robert, let's just watch the dashboard down at the bottom right and just see how he negotiates through here. Thank you. Yeah, no problem. See, he's very easy on the gas, especially right here. This was a trouble spot for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, and that's the kind of patience that I was talking about through that part there. Is it'll be very easy to run over the person in front of you because either them checking up super early because of a bad angle or they're carrying too much speed. So, and now we're down to shooting down the fastest part of the track here, and they're going to be coming in hard into this braking zone.
And of course, you got to reiterate, there's a little bit of a bend right there as you look at Elijah Fisher, 1.2 second lead over Colton Ward, and this was another tricky spot for several drivers. One of them, Devin Hernandez, or Thomas Hernandez, sorry. And he gets it through clean. So far, Elijah Fisher says the fastest lap at a 2:13.689. So, right now, of course, nobody really likes seeing a freight train, but I can guarantee you people also don't like seeing it under caution as well. So, as we actually look back at Shane Harr, 7.2 seconds. He's actually in the thick of it with Mike Hauser. These two had great battles as Hernandez blows the corner. Robert.
Oh yeah, there he carried too much speed in, locked up those tires, and lost those two positions to Shane Harr and Mike Hauser.
He got lucky.
Now they're starting to work up that hill, so we'll see if he can capitalize as he gets loose there.
Oh,
Shane! Fishtail in the back end. As you've seen Shane into the wall.
Wonder what damage it has. Remember, he had wheel damage Saturday night on the dirt series, and it hurt the car badly. So we're going to here to see how a road course handles. But right now, Shane Harr trailing in 6th, trying to go 3 straight all over the place, dirt tracking it even. Back at your buddy Colton, he's coming.
Oh yeah, you definitely got to keep an eye on Colton. He's going to hang around there. And more than likely, he's just going to sit here, follow all behind Elijah, watch what he's doing, and then start mirroring his driving, and when he starts doing that, he becomes one of the toughest guys to contain because he knows how to really maneuver that. As I say that, he slides it a little bit coming over that hill.
Of course, more sectors.
But luckily, he was able to save it.
More sectors tonight, as you see. There.
What were you doing, 77?
As we have an issue here. Oh, couple drivers around. Hernandez gets rolling, will stay green. Another one of them things that we were talking about earlier in the race, one of them sections. We'll go back and see what happened. They're only showing 4 X's, so we'll see what happened. So Hernandez already spun around. Oh, and of course it's a blind corner, which 2 cars, him or him, getting through, so no caution. Sucks, but he got to expect Robert that that's victim of circumstances.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you're gonna have a lot of blind corners where you're gonna be coming around a turn, and you're not gonna know if somebody's there or not, and it's constantly gonna, unless you're out front, you're gonna be having that in the back of your mind tonight.
Which in the other thing,
as you see, as you can see, Elijah pulling away here.
Trying to. Ward really Elijah can gain. I see right here through the fast section of the track. Fisher gained a lot through there. And but that was saying the other thing the drivers have as getting back to Josh Anderson, I apologize. He had something pop up on my other screen, but another thing the drivers do have, it tells you if there's a yellow somewhere in the sector or the area, it will tell you and pop up a yellow flag on these drivers'
One around
screen.
the bottom of the hill. Be careful.
One around at the bottom of the hill we're looking for. Kay Cannon.
Oh, that is a tough
Kay,
break.
you can roll now.
I know he's already locked in.
Hush. Okay. So, my fault, but...
Oh.
God damn it. Gosh darn it. Sorry about that. Whatever. Either way. So, Elijah Fisher still in Colton Ward. I'm just going to forget that ever happened. I'll keep my mouth shut next time. So, nobody ain't got no damage out of it. Nobody's had an incident since then. Robert, how many laps we got left? 8 of 35, 28? Yeah, 28 to go. But real fast, Robert, the big movers of the race tonight so far. Josh Anderson, ironically, up 8 spots. Hit his brother Aaron Stanton up 6, and Jordan Jorno up 5. They're your big movers. Does that surprise you with them 3 drivers?
No, they're really good at keeping their nose as clean as possible, and they're really good at keeping, racing the track and not drivers. So when it gets closer to the end of this race, I wouldn't be surprised we see all those guys up there in the top 5, trying to give something there to. Seems like Elijah's having a dominant race since that incident or that time that Shane pitted, but like I said, I wonder if that's strategy with him pitting that early, to where now he knows he can go run it longer than they can. So, but as you can see here,
Ward all over the back.
oh yeah, the battle is picking up. Colton has caught Elijah, and he's putting the pressure on him. So now we're going to see how much pressure he's going to put on him and see if Elijah can keep that focus and not make a mistake.
Almost the same speed they'll be doing next week. Tops out 190 mile an hour, then has to immediately let off down to 140 zone and then pick up the pace again. Like I said, almost speed mirroring next week.
Like I said, I think the reason why Colton has caught Elijah is Colton was sitting there mirroring him and learning how, kind of learning the track as he's going and
Cade Cannon
learning
around
how,
in the same
and
spot.
Cade Cannon around again. But
And I ain't telling him to go this time. Forget that.
And, as you see, they got a decent lead there over Jordan Giorno in third, 7.35 seconds ahead of him. But going up this hill, it's going to be kind of interesting to see if Colton can keep that close to half a second, so that way in the fast part of the track he can keep it, which he gains right there and brings it down to 2 to 2.1 seconds behind Elijah. So he's staying right there with him and putting the pressure. As you can see, Elijah's starting to have that back end kind of slide out. I wonder if he's starting to push it too hard, knowing that Colton's right there and that he's trying to just keep that pace to where he stays in front of him.
And I would like to ask you a question before the road course go. Do you think tires are starting to come into play here as far as, like, do you think tires, like, you think Elijah maybe burn off his stuff pushing as hard, or do you think tires really ain't that big of a concern?
No, well, road courses, it definitely, your tires are key, but the biggest thing with road courses is, how well are you not overheating your brakes, especially in this area where they're getting ready to come into that hard braking zone. A lot of guys uses those brakes to position the nose of the car to get it to turn like they need to. And as you can kind of see, when Elijah was coming out of that hard braking zone, his front rotors were glowing a little bit. So just got to keep an eye on that to see if maybe he doesn't burn up his brakes before anything else.
And of course, well, Robert, you know that from experience, Laguna Seca out early with brake issues. Cade Cannon coming back out. He's going to try to keep his lap a whole 2 minutes and 13 seconds behind. He is going to try to keep his lap. Mike Hauser has one way out there after I believe there was an incident earlier in the race that he was involved in. Josh Henderson in the grass.
And we are going to... So if everybody was around the same window as what Shane was letting us know early and before the race started, we might be seeing some green flag pit stops coming up here soon, within, I'd say, any time between now and the next 4 laps.
And look at the graphic. I mean, the blue represents, yellow represents their first stint, blue represents the second stint, and it'll just alternate. Shane Har and Josh Henderson 2 laps ahead of the front runners. Do you think 2 laps, is that a big gap here with a almost 4-mile racetrack?
It definitely will give them the advantage to where they can go a little bit longer than, or at least an extra lap longer than the leaders. And as you can see, Elijah's having a hard time through this section, getting around Cade, but the leaders are going to have to pit, and that's going to put Shane Har and right up there to where they want to be. And if they time it right, they can put a decent amount of time between them and cars coming out of the pits. As you can see, Cade went off the course, and there's someone else.
Cade got it straight going, Glidewell. Of course, Glidewell making his Inspired Racing League debut tonight. Okay, runs, finish a ride. Here goes Ward.
And Colton takes that over.
25 to go. Lord have mercy.
Oh,
let's look back at that.
That's gonna be, and that's gonna be what the issue is gonna be through these tight turns. You're not really gonna be.
I misspoke. I apologize on Cade's part. Cade being to his inside, Elijah not able to use that the whole corner.
He just didn't. Yeah, he just wasn't able to angle it in like he needed to, and was trying to get past him going into the corner so he could get that angle out, but unfortunately he kind of overshot it a little bit there. But that opened the door for Colton, and Colton now is taking the lead. As you see, Elijah kind of fishtailing it around the turns. Now they're coming up on Darcy Har, so we're going to see how they can navigate through there, which it looks like Darcy's just going to slow down and let him go by. So
Darcy Hart 2 laps down. Cade Cannon, Gordon Glidewell both 1 down. They're actually trading positions as we got more issues, and Cade again. It has not been a good night for the driver who just last week locked himself into a playoff spot on points alone. And you got to think, as well, I'm going to say this real quick, and then I'm going to bring another topic up as we look at Shane Harvey. Do you think these drivers, is it points or survival right now, especially for the bubble drivers?
oh yeah, it's these guys that are on the bubble are definitely looking to bring in the trying to just get through this race without losing too many points. And if you know, talking with some of them, you know, pre-race, it seemed like a lot of them are on the mindset of, you know, if we gain some points, that's great, but they're just trying to maintain that gap this week heading into Daytona.
Real fast, where we just looked through the field here. I think what I'm seeing is a couple drivers lagging, but the quest for 3 straight road course wins in Cup, 4 straight in total, and you alluded to Shane Hart earlier as his pit strategy. And I got to ask, do you think Fisher and Colton way up there the distance, do you think that's bringing Shane in? Do they think that they're unintentionally bringing in the guy who everybody is trying to beat tonight? Like, do you think they realize that, or are they just trying to race it out and see who can come out on the first round of pit stops?
Honestly, I think they're just trying to run their race and trying to take care of their equipment more than anything. Shane being, it seems like a road course guru. I mean, him and Elijah were posting the fastest laps in qualifying, so you already know that he has the speed. And now that he's not dealing with traffic, it's kind of going to see if he burnt his stuff up or not, trying to get around all the cars to work back up there, or if he was able to save it and pick his spots at the right time to get past them. So we will be having pit stops coming up here soon for these leaders, and that's gonna set Shane up to at least get 1 lap or close to 1 lap ahead of him. Which I think that's what he was trying to do, is just basically manage that gap to where it'll put him right back out there in the lead, and once he takes a pit stop here.
Of course, back to looking at the biggest mover still, Henderson is standing up 9 and 7 spots. Jorna up 4. And I got to ask, one thing to keep in mind is, and I'll probably try to pull this up, the pit stop times when drivers are in the pits. And speaking of in the pits, Elijah Fisher ducks off a pit road to come a little bit earlier than what me and you thought.
Yeah, I just wonder him being out early in the lead, and it was running kind of hard to keep in front of Colton if he would kind of burn his stuff up. Oh no!
Shane Hart broke. We'll see what happens.
What did we miss?
Murray's corner strikes, and oh
man! So and he had a fast car tonight too.
See Fisher now leaving the pits, and for the Shane Hart fans tonight, it will not be 4 in a row, and it will not be 3 straight Cup Series wins at a road course. I'm gonna give him a few minutes to cool down because I don't know if he's living or what. I'll pull him in here in a bit. But that is a big blow, and that opens the door for a lot of drivers, specifically the driver running in second, Jordan Jorno, if he can get caught up to Colton Ward, who right now looks like he's on rails. Let's go ahead and pull up.
And that
Go ahead.
that also moved with that happening. That also moved Josh Henderson and Aaron Stanton into the top 5. So they have moved up even more. As you can see, Elijah Fisher, after pitting, is about 36 seconds back off the leader. So we're going to have to see how things are going here.
While we're doing that, let's go ahead pretty quick into the tire wall and a tow back to the pits. We'll see if we can't get the driver to 21 in here. Shane Hard, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Well,
You're good, man. I saw it.
we can hear the disappointment. For right now, unless a miracle happens, the 4 straight road course wins will not happen.
A little bit different than the
It's
stuff
what
you're used to
happened
on Gordon.
going into that last
100%.
quarter.
This is my first road course, by the way.
I don't really know.
I ran it for like an hour beforehand.
I think
and I
this
downloaded
track
it.
could probably be burned or demolished, and I wouldn't really care.
Wow. Honestly,
I think you'll have a lot of people agreeing with you
Blame it
on
on
that one
Elijah.
after tonight.
Yeah, it's crazy. I just don't get it how the track can feel one way one lap and then the next it's just completely different.
Do you think that it might have been like the brakes getting too hot coming through that area there to where you have to really slow down to make that turn and they just didn't want to grip, or?
Yeah, that could have been. I kind of came in a little hot too, so that didn't help.
Another thing is the track looks awful dirty back around that last corner. They're actually coming right into the last corner. Shane Hart, I know you're going to get back out there and try to make up some spots and some laps. So I'll go ahead and ask anybody you want to think real night, and I'll let you get back to it.
Not really, no.
All right, buddy. Shane Hart,
Thank you for getting out of the way, Hunter.
we'll be back out, but right now the drive for 4 in a row is done. Appreciate your time, buddy.
You too, man. Thanks.
You can hear the dejection in his voice, not what he wanted. And real fast for the viewers watching, me and Robert will go ahead and just run through the field. So obviously, well, not quick yet. Colton Ward an 18-second lead over Jordan Jorno. Speaking of Jorno, right now the +5. Looking at it, and I'm only going to give a ballpark estimate here. He is flirting with that cut line a little bit more as Chris Lyotta runs 7th and Brent Hammerhand in the pits and is 16th at the moment. So that is going to not benefit Brent coming into the night, and there will definitely break the tiebreaker between him and Chris Lyotta. So Robert, 21 to go as we look at Jordan Jorno in that velocity car. At least that's what I believe it says. Yeah, velocity.
Little sketch. Sorry, Darcy, but thank you for
But
that.
what do you just see? Do you see this race taking another complexion, or is this pretty much how we're just gonna see it?
Honestly, pitting is going to be big on how, what positions you can pit or gain on pit road. As you were riding along here with Aaron Stanton chasing his brother down for 4th place, it's going to be tough. These braking zones are rough on those brakes, and you've got to be able to really play with them to kind of get them to stick, especially once they get heated up. But once you wear out those rotors, you're along for the ride. As you can see, Aaron has pulled up to Josh's bumper here. It's going to be interesting to see where he tries to make a move, if he can, or if he's just content riding behind his brother as long as he can and wait for a mistake to happen, or a big window to open up for him.
Oh yeah, thank you. And of course, Shane Har, the damage too much right now is showing he is out to race along with Hunter as well. So for Brent Hammerhand, if he can get back out there, get 2 points, 2 valuable points. But real fast, I want to talk about these two. And Robert, we know, as well as people who's followed the Cup and ARCA series, these two right here, they might be brothers outside of this. But by God, does Josh Henderson and Aaron Stanton not race each other like they're fighting over the last piece of bacon during breakfast or something like that? Like they just have the uncanny ability of bringing the aggression out of each other, and we've seen a couple of times, I believe it was Iowa or Kentucky, one of the short ovals, where they actually turned each other. And I talked with Josh, and they did not talk for a week about it. So, what's your opinion as far, especially with these two making the playoffs? Without aggression, do you get turned up if Henderson can slide in?
Oh yeah, if Josh can get make that cut, you're gonna see the aggression get up there. I mean, these two are real competitive. They want to do better than each other, and they definitely try to push each other as far as they can go. So it's definitely going to be an interesting playoffs if Josh can make it in. Aaron already being locked in, you know, it's going to be nice to kind of see. We know Daytona, he's good at Daytona. Josh is, so it's just a matter of, you know, will Aaron try to keep Josh out from getting the playoffs, or will he help him and kind of put that competitiveness aside? Oh, as we see, Colton Ward has done lost it.
Big enough lead to where if he can get tires quit off, he might be fine. Let's see what happened to our race leader. I was waiting when it was going to bite. Oh. Ooh, that
was a hard hit into the tire barrier there.
Surprising.
But as you can see on the position tracker, Elijah has gotten around Jordan Giorno, so I wonder if Jordan pitted that allowed Elijah to get past him.
Sorry for the confusion. You're welcome.
So.
Thank you,
So far, Colton has not made a pit stop yet, and that lead has shrunk down from Elijah. At one point it was at like 35 seconds, which Colton's coming in now, so kind of wondering to see, as he kind of misjudges the pit road lane getting into the actual pit road, with this being a 31-mile-an-hour pit lane, I wonder how much time Elijah Fisher will be able to gain on him while he's in the pits, and will he use his fast repair to kind of skip having to sit there and let the damage repair on its own?
Well, look at this right here, 15.6. This is the pit stop as the tires are going on now. And Fisher will, so now really what I was going to make is irrelevant. But I was going to say the faster you can get off of the pit road will really play into how you blend back onto the track, believe it or not. Obviously, it doesn't matter now. Colton Ward 12 seconds back. Go in here and see if he can gain that. We're just going to go back through the field, see if we can spot any battles or anybody we can talk about. Stevie Henning, of course, for those of you that do not know, the man in the booth with me, Robert Wilhoit, he has took over as the left-hand man position. I'm assuming that's one of the high-ranking officials. And, of course, he is here to give his insight on the race and what he thinks. After Stephen Henning, in one of the most shocking announcements, that he was going to give up. He was going to give up his admin position, his official position, in order to focus on his racing in the playoffs. And Robert right now running 6. He seems to be doing that pretty well.
Brian, did I echo you at all?
Yeah, he's already locked in. So he's, you know, when we interviewed him earlier, he said that you know, the pressure of making the playoffs was off his shoulders, so he can kind of relax now and just kind of take it easy. But he's definitely looking to try to have a good showing here tonight, which he's having a great run.
We have
And
Wardo!
oh, Colton! Oh no, Colton Warden, Cade Cannon making contact.
Right now, here
That's
comes
the
Jordan.
kind of.
How's that not a caution, guys?
Ooh.
2 cars involved only.
Yeah, there was multiple incidents that blocked the track there. I don't.
Well, let me see what kind of incident.
I was not trying to block the track. I was trying to get out of the way after Henderson spun me again.
All right,
Brett, we weren't talking about you, I promise. Colton spun and I head on him and we were stuck blocking the whole track.
All right, I don't ultimately begin to think everybody's like Shane. They can burn this track afterwards here.
Yeah,
but obviously, I mean, we're trying to do everything we can. Everything's
All good, man.
Everything's honestly there's so much going on. It's hard to keep track.
I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah, this track is a tough one to run, and these drivers tonight are going to be worn out after this race. I mean, it's the biggest, or not really the biggest track, but it has I think the most turns that they've had to do all season long in one race. So it's definitely going to be nutrition and focus, but hopefully, I mean, these, like I said earlier, you have someone spin out in these turns. You know, they're blind. You're not going to be able to see them when you're coming into the turn until you're right there on them. So it's definitely going to be a lot of.
It's going to be aggravating.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be aggravating in the post race. It's going to be aggravating with the official meeting. It's just going to be one of them things that. Ultimately, you know, you can drive this track, and you know everybody can get good at this track, but
I'm gonna go right, Thursday. I'm going
it's
right.
just the narrow aspect of this track. It's what's becoming a difficult challenge for a lot of drivers, and ultimately, it's one of them. It plays a big factor into the playoffs, and. If you're Elijah Fisher, nothing's going on. But
yeah, Elijah's just on a Sunday stroll right now.
Colton Ward, despite damage and hitting everything, the car looks great. Well, I say that, a little bit of camber in the left front might be knocked out just a little bit. But
even with all those issues with how much of a lead they have over Jordan Jorno, he was able to retain his position and keep going. So I wonder if he's just kind of going to try to baby it the rest of the way with 17 to go. As you saw, Jordan Jorno come fishtailing it around turn 1, you know, he sees Colton in his sights, and he knows that he's been having some issues and he's got some damage. I just wonder if he's going to try to push it a little harder to get up there to him to take over second place. But if he does, hopefully he doesn't make a mistake or burn up anything trying to get there.
Of course, right now, we reiterate playoff drivers having issues tonight with more Jorno, or the drivers around the bubble area. I should say Jorno running in third. Been about the only one that has drivers to kind of keep it clean. Hope I don't jinx him. But Williams running 8th, Lyota 9th, Henderson 10th, Hammerhand running 14th. It's really just, it's only going, as if it cannot be any tighter. Right now, theoretically looking at the points, theoretically from the way it looks, there's going to be about anywhere from maybe 10 to 1 point separating hypothetically, I ain't gonna sit here and do the math in my head because I'll just give myself a headache doing that. But
it's definitely going to make a very intense last race into the playoffs for those cut line drivers. I mean, you're having a lot of guys dropping points and a lot of guys gaining points, so it's definitely going to bring it in close, and it will literally be a dogfight for those last few spots that are available.
And of course, you know, we mentioned him and he sounded a little flustered earlier, but we mentioned Brent, and he was just running 16. He might be 4 down, but he surpassed Ozell and Har for the 15 and 16 spot. Every point is going to matter.
Thank you, Darcy. Appreciate it.
Tonight. You see, that car has seen better days. But, you know, ultimately, we look back at Elijah Fisher. Ultimately, you know, he will be able to get some points. He might even pass Cade and Glidewell, who are both in the pits. See Cade sitting there, Glidewell is coming back out.
Cade had a lot of damage after T-boning Colton, which it still amazes me that Colton was able to keep that car going and able to keep it being competitive and not losing any spots. As you can see, he's 26, almost 20 seconds behind Elijah, and then Jorno's 32, almost 33 seconds behind Elijah. So I mean, them two are gaining on it, or Jordan's gaining on Colton. So I'm wondering if Colton's just trying to nurse it around to the finish with 16 to go. But the biggest question is, did Elijah pit too early? And if so, has he been able to save enough gas? He's only gone 7 laps on this stint. The first run that he did, it looks like he did
12.
What was that? 12? Yeah.
12 and 7.
Oh.
That's about what, 16? No, not that much.
So if he can make it do 2 12-lap stints, that's going to put him at 24 out of 35. As we see, it looked like Brent Hanrahan was turned around coming out of that last turn again.
He is, and he's got it rolling.
Oh, and he's not in a very good spot as they're going to become at the
he's clear. I'm looking at track
Colton
map.
Gordon Dorno's coming, but another tough break for Brent tonight. As you can see, he's got some more damage to that car, and tonight's just going to be a night of who can survive this track.
And again, the incident points coming into tonight. There's a penalty at 26. And of course, Cade, that's why Cade was in the pits. Him and Glidewell had succeeded. Hammerhand's close at 24 to having to get a black flag. So yeah, right now so far the cleanest driver for one incident points is Aaron Stan. Where he blends after a black flag for, I'm assuming, a pit road attack. Has set him back in 10th, 1 down. Of course, just not tonight that Stan wanted. A lot of the guys who are normally good at road courses, of course, Shane Har, one of them. But Mike Hauser in 5th, Steven in 4th. I mean, them are decent, respectable, but you got drivers like Jorno and Hernandez, Williams, Lyota, all in the top 10 with a potential chance to make it in or to get a good finish out of tonight.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, after that, or coming to the first turn, starting the race tonight, Mike Hauser, got into the back of Shane and then kind of spun it right there in turn 1. He's already climbed himself back up into the top 5, and right in front of him is going to be Stephen Henning Jr., who's having an incredible run tonight. He did sneak one away from Shane, so I wonder if he can, with 15 to go and possibly some pit stops still to come, if he can kind of sneak it around and, steal another win here.
Oh, believe me, if anybody knows anything about stealing a win, from anybody. Then Stephen Henning got, I remember there was another league that we used to run in. We were running trucks at 5 flags. I was spotting for Shane, as a matter of fact. The whole race, Shane in another truck. The best two of the night. Stephen Henning worked himself in the third, keeping level head, playing it smart. And what you know, on the last lap, Robert, when Shane and the other truck spun and turned 3 on the last lap, who was there to steal one? It was Steven. And then you go to Daytona earlier in the season, a little cattywampus is coming down the hill. Shane Har, a mistake was made on the last lap.
30 legs,
Steven Henning. So
Yeah,
he's
and
great.
then I definitely want to also point out is first car lap down, sitting in 7th place, is Thomas Hernandez, who is having a good run after kind of having a rough beginning there, but he's made his way back up into the top 10 and has kind of been consistently sitting around, you know, close to the top 5. So it'd be interesting to see as we say that he kind of loses it but saves it.
Good God almighty.
But somebody, I wonder if he pulled that e-brake and just to get that car to go around
I'm
like
sure
that.
He's been practicing
But
that.
my lord, hopefully he didn't spot those tires and keep it going.
That's
but
the bad thing if he got
as
it
I
right.
was saying, he's been having a good run this evening, especially on a tough track. It's good to see some of these guys that normally, have a hard time at these road courses sticking in here and starting to get into these top 10 positions, just by keeping their nose clean and keeping,
The best you can.
their car in one piece.
And I'll tell you another guy who has done just that, and the guy that needs the most points now. Folks, do not get confused with the ARCA car and the 40 car. Hayden Williams drives it in ARCA. You're looking at Jason Williams, the dad to Hayden. Right now, 1 lap down, but in 6 spots. And, of course, Robert, we showed you at the top of the show, Jason needing as many points he can grab. 16 out coming into tonight. I'll actually flash it up there one more time for the viewers to see. See down there at the bottom in the 11th spot. Out by 16. This is the points coming into tonight. And for Jason, he really needs as many points he can get to stay where he's at. We noted last week a great run at Indianapolis to kind of keep him in the hunt. But if you were him and you came into the night minus 16, and no matter where you finish at tonight, knowing that you came in the least out of all the drivers, what is your mindset going into a track like Daytona next week?
Definitely try to get as many points here. Then Daytona is, basically a must-win situation for him. But as I say that, Henderson and Hannerin were the two that, were just above the bubble, and Giorno and Giorno and Williams were on the outside, and with him having a better run than Henderson and Hannerin, it definitely a race that he could definitely capitalize to make that an even closer battle for himself, to where maybe he can get up there to where he, maybe they kind of swap positions where Giorno and Williams can get in off of points and knock out Henderson and Hannerin. It's definitely a battle that we're going to have to keep an eye on and definitely see how the rest of this race goes, and see how it sets up for next week at Daytona.
It will be a very interesting race. We'll tune back in Elijah Fisher. Colt Ward has made a pit stop, and he is in. You see him. This should give Giorno and it will give Jorno second over Ward. And like I said, if you're Jorno tonight, 12 more laps is it's still a long race to go. But tonight, it's just gonna need to do exactly what it's been doing it. Try to keep it clean. I'm sure we have another round of pit stops coming. But of course, last week, Jorno had one of the fast cars, one of the fastest Chevrolets there, and of course, Elijah Fisher being able to play the economy game. You know, how were you able to get him to think big picture here? You're only out by 5 points. Or is it something that you think he has to put himself into the mindset, like, you know, very passionate, but sometimes that temper can cloud his judgment. How do you go about getting a driver like him back into the mindset, or is it something he has to do on his own?
Speaking with him throughout the week, it's more of he's really racing for the points. He's not. He wants to get the win. He's been right there, been close numerous times of getting that win. But he is definitely eager to race his way in if he has to. It's just a matter of him having, keeping his nose clean and keeping his focus and hitting his marks every week. And I definitely think he's been looking forward to Daytona. That's one of his also strong tracks. Just a lot of the Chevy guys do really good at the super speedways. So if he can come out of here closing that gap and heading into Daytona, as long as he can make it out of there in one piece, I think he'd be satisfied with making it where he was at.
Developing story coming in as far as the playoffs go. Josh Henderson has exceeded the incident limit. That is the minimum incident limit, which is a black flag. He will have to come in as third. So as you see, Josh coming into the pit. So Daytona, you can see there's going to be about 5 desperate men. 5 desperate men tonight are going to be walking into Daytona. I wouldn't want to say a chip on their shoulder, but I mean, if you're like Brent, there's a little bit of urgency there. He told us at the top of the show during the pre-race that, yeah, the urgency is there, but he's not letting it worry him. He's confident in his ability going into next week, where you got somebody like Jorno, who this is what he has spent an entire season working on. He spent an entire season trying to get to this opportunity. About 6 weeks ago, we all but counted Jorno out, Robert. I mean, out by 68, 60-some points for the drive that he has made in the last 5 weeks. And then not considering Henderson and Lyota, and I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, and Williams as Fisher's coming in. The sense of urgency is there. You can feel it, you can hear it, and just next week, I would not want to be one of them 5 drivers walking into an unpredictable Daytona.
Yeah, it is unpredictable. You never know where things are going to be, how things are going to go. Really with Daytona, you're kind of wanting to hang back and try to avoid the big one and make sure you're there at the end to where you can really push it. As you can see here, Jordan is pushing with Elijah in pit road. He is pushing to try to beat him out of or past the pit exit so he can take the lead, which it's gonna be. It's gonna be close. As you can see, Elijah Fisher blending in. Now Jordan's gonna see Elijah there, and he knows that he can get him, knowing that he's trying to get up to speed.
So look between them.
So
a Ford Hernandez is between him and Fisher. Well, do you think Hernandez is going to try to help here and try to aid Fisher maybe?
Thanks, Aaron.
Honestly, I don't know. It's gonna have to kind of wait and see and find out. But I know Jordan saw him, and he knows that he's on new tires and everything. So if he kind of has to push it to try to get him to get back up there. But hopefully he has something left. As you see, Elijah's still, those tires are trying to warm up. He's really trying to get those in there, but
Yeah,
Jordan's still, he has less laps, or he's gone less this stint than what Elijah did. So, I mean, maybe he has a little bit more in the tank than what we know.
Of course, it hasn't
with
updated. It hasn't sorry, Robert, but it has not updated yet, so we not know how fast Fisher's time was in the pits yet. But if anything, Robert, that just goes to show how crucial it is to get in and out of the pits. Is something like that right there.
Oh yeah, and you want to get in and out of those pits as quickly as possible. I mean, he did get, as you can hear Jordan saying that he's pitting this lap, so he's going to be giving up some time. And you know, Colton Ward, he had all those issues. He now is about 15, almost 16 seconds behind, behind Elijah. So he's going to be able to take over second place, depending on how quickly Jordan can get in and out of the pits. So it's going to be kind of, as you can see, he's already coming through that last turn. So yeah, he's going to beat Jordan past the pit exit. So Colton's going to take over second place, which he's good to go until the end.
Of course, you want to look at, I'm surprised I ain't brought this out any sooner, but really what you want to look for, we'll zoom in on them. So Jorno in the pits, and of course, well, actually that's longer than I thought. So actually Jorno, as long as he's not speed and get a black flag or nothing like that, he will be secured in third. So right now the question being, as you look at Steven Henning, running in fourth, of course, said a lot tonight. He is locked into the playoffs with his, based on points alone, been a very quiet season for the driver to 12. So who are we not really sure to here? We ain't, well, there's Darcy, what I was going for, but of course Darcy just, you know, he's just here. He's out for a Sunday stroll or a Monday night stroll. He's here just to have fun with everybody, a real class act. Of course, everybody knows the son, Shane Hart, being one of the best that there is. But this is the one I really want to talk about. You want to talk about quiet seasons, Robert, and that is Chris Lyota, one of them, came into the night just tied on the bubble, but looking in. And I want to point something out. I want to see if your opinion, if you agree on me. From the Chris Lyota that started this season, where it was a massive learning curve, of course. For those of y'all that don't know, and I try not to speak about it because this is a brand new league, but some of the guys came from console. Chris, one of them, oh my,
that is a hard hit on the right side.
As I say, I'm not talking good about him, but I will say, besides that little incident right there has been a massive, as he does have a meatball, he will have to come in this time to fix the damage. But before that, going back to what I was saying, you know, there's been a great improvement in him from the start of Daytona to now. And it's because of them improvements that he is still in the conversation. Just how do you think, you know, what are your thoughts on him? Just, do you agree the same way that he has improved a little bit? And what can he take away from the fundamentals that he's learned from iRacing into the playoffs, if he can make it in?
I mean, really, it's not just Chris, but everybody has had a lot of things to learn about this season, and but he is one that has been more consistent, and that's why he's been able to get there. He's been able to get better and better each race, so it's definitely, I'm happy to see him right there in the hunt. He's one of the guys that definitely deserves it, and I feel like if he can get in, it's just gonna boost his confidence even more.
Close enough to where you consider a dark horse for the Final Four. And of course, you ain't got,
yeah.
Your opinion, by the way, like, you don't have to sugarcoat nothing. We're on the broadcast. Well, obviously language is concerned, but as far as your opinion on what you see, like, do you think that he can be a dark horse for this Final Four?
I definitely think that he could give some guys a run for his money, especially with the tracks that we have lined up. I could see him pulling something off or pulling a rabbit out of the hat.
I can too. And of course,
so
we got a car around Aaron Stanton, and he just tows it back, and I believe that'll be the night done for the driver to 27. Don't know yet, but sure it'll be Gordon Glidewell to 25. He has retired from the event. Kay Cannon, I'm pretty sure, Cannon has also retired. It just hasn't updated it for some reason. Gonna be a lot of unhappy drivers leaving tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of drivers had a lot of concerns about making it through the entire night. As you see, Colton trying to get around Thomas Hernandez here. He's trying to catch Elijah with 7 to go, and
I
mean,
wouldn't block Colton for some. Oh, contact! Now, you think that's Hernandez trying to slow Ward down, or do you just think?
I think it is more of him trying to make sure that he got, he was getting his position. We talked about, as you see Hernandez kind of sliding the tires. I mean, I hope he wasn't trying to throw the block on him, but I would like to, we know Colton's fast. He was able to mirror Elijah and gain that on him real quick earlier in the race. Just wondering if there's too late and too much of a distance, as he's 20.5 21 seconds behind him, if he can make up that ground or not.
Look at the lap time.
But you can see that it looks like
Fisher's faster by 1.8 the last go round.
Yeah, it's so, which that could also be because of him trying to get around Hernandez. So we'll have to see what the difference is after they both cross the line here.
We'll pull it back up whenever Fisher. Actually, we'll pull it back up because Fisher's about to cross about to actually go against the line now. This is really how it should be. So Fisher, lap 29 to 2:14, 2:45. Colton Ward ought to be crossing the line here momentarily. Now remember, he's 20 seconds back, so momentarily really isn't all that kind of 20 seconds long. There it is. So 2.2. Yeah, so pretty much what this is telling us, as long as Fisher does not make a bobble or a problem, Fisher will go 2 for 2, or back to back, I should say, and that'll give a lot of confidence to the driver of the number 4 going into next week for the regular season finale.
Yeah, with Elijah already having the playoffs locked in and everything, it's basically, he can just take it easy, not push his stuff too hard, and really get in there. So
and looking at the
it's
throttle,
just a matter of
looking at the throttle. It's that little section back there where we saw in qualifying, in practice, a lot of drivers struggle. It seemed like he's just able to push that that one little section there more aggressive than the rest. So Robert, let's look at his top speed down here. .191, that's what I saw.
Yeah, you saw it jump up to 191, and then it gets all the way down. He goes from 191 all the way down to 50 miles an hour for that hard braking turn there.
150.
So,
it's,
for him to be doing that this long for this race, that just shows you how much he's been able to keep his brakes cooled to where they're not overheating. But as you can tell, you know, in the lower end braking points, they don't get cooled off enough.
For Aaron Stanton fans, Aaron Stanton has retired from this event, and frankly, it might be enough for Darcy to take over, but Brent Hammerhand, the way it looks, and driving a 95, the best he can do right now is Darcy Hart does take over. Well, I say that. I was about to say Hammerhand might be stuck in 12th, but there's a chance. There is a chance that he could get 11th.
Yeah, and you know, I do have to say though, with all of the issues that everybody's having tonight on this difficult track, Darcy Har, minus being 9 laps down, is in the top 10, which is a great performance for him. You know, he's just running his race at his pace and keeping it nice and clean for himself as much as he can. And you know, that's really on these road courses. That's all it is. It's not about speed all the time. It's about being consistent, getting through the corners clean, and just keeping your nose where, you know, the car's underneath you. So very proud of the showing that he's putting on tonight here at Mount Panorama.
And it doesn't count him out on Daytona and Talladega for sure. Like, I see Brent Hammerhand just limping along, trying to salvage the next soon to be 4 laps. But you know, Darcy, he can be a threat. Him and Shane Har, of course, you were in the Inspired 250 at Daytona, but him and Shane Har was that. Don't remind you. That was rough.
Don't remind me.
That was rough for everybody.
It is.
Him and Shane were up there at the front constantly. As we're speaking good about him, he has gone into the gravel trap. Murray's corner strikes, both hard tonight.
Yeah, he's got some. You can see that damage in the front end. But
and Hernandez.
Yeah.
Hello, Hernandez. How you doing tonight? And
wait, if Hernandez wasn't awake, that definitely woke him up there. And so as you can see here,
I don't see nothing out of sorts.
Yeah, you might have like a toe link or something. You can kind of see he's having a hard time keeping it straight. That front end keeps bouncing around, so I wonder if he's...
Yeah, that left front.
it's...
Of course, and to save budget for the Inspired drivers, as one of the financial advisors, I have to buy some parts off of Temu, and they can be rather fragile whenever they go in these cars, and it looks like one of them important pieces broke. What do you think? Do you start shopping on Amazon?
I mean, I think it's time to upgrade from Temu to possibly Wish, or I mean, Amazon. It can be pretty expensive also. So, you know, we get into the playoffs. I'd say we try to aim for the Amazon, but that way these cars can stick together.
Well, there is a budget.
we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, even though Mike is kind of fighting a issue with the
Not
car
really.
right now and
It's
having the
going out there
meatball.
for
I mean,
2
he
years
is in 5th place right now, so
The worst he can do is 8th.
um,
Alright, well,
Depending on how
thank
bad the damage is.
yeah, yeah. And as you can see, he pulled off into the pits, obviously to serve
Look at,
for that meatball. Hopefully, his night's not over.
and I'll give Fisher.
But with 3 to go,
I'll give Fisher credit. You just saw how dirty that track is, and the fact that he's able to lay down consistent lap times and keep 23 seconds above Colton. You gotta imagine them tires are getting dirty every time they go through that section of the track. It's actually pretty impressive that he can just be able to uphold the gap here like he is.
yeah, and I mean, as you can see, I mean, he's getting loose through these low braking zones. So I mean, I'm wondering if the tires are starting to wear out, and or the brakes are starting to kind of lock up because of getting hot. 'Cause you really don't have much room to really let these brakes cool off when you're on them. So it's, yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the show, it definitely is about taking care of your equipment and all that. And it seems, as of now, Elijah has been able to do so.
And
over
the last 2 weeks, you know, as much as me and you and as far as anybody else, you know, we put Shane Har as like he's been the dominant driver, but if he can hold on for 3 more laps, does 4 wins and 2 in a row, does that put Elijah Fisher back in the championship talk? Like, because beforehand, and I keep coming back to this, and I know I ain't supposed to, but beforehand, years ago, Robert, I will give you an insight. There was one year the 2 dominant cars was exactly what they are right now, Fisher and Shane Har. And of course, the rivalry coming over here renewed, and of course, you know, Shane's got 5 wins in Cup this season, but this 2 wins in a, if he can hold on for 2 in a row and 4 wins this season, I'm just gonna come right back to the question I'm asking. Do you think that will put him in the title picture as to, hey, you know, Shane's this dominant guy, but I got something I can say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely puts him up there in the same conversation with Shane. If anything, you know, the win last week, the win this, you know, if he can pull it off these last 2 laps and bring it home, it's definitely going to boost his confidence heading into the playoffs. He's going to have the momentum on his side. So, I mean, it definitely is there for him. You can kind of have been able to see here recently that he's been able to kind of tone back that aggressive racing style that he has at times, and you know, focus more on being precise, being patient. So it's definitely going to turn out to be a really good playoffs position as he's coming up on Stephen Henning here. Catching him really quick through these winding S's. But this is what I mean by being patient. Normally, you know, at the beginning of the season, I would say he'd try to throw it in there in one of these turns to try to get around him. But he's taking his time, waits for the opening, gets the opportunity and takes it. So you can definitely show the growth and the maturity from the beginning of the season to now.
It's just like how we talked about Chris. That I believe he said he might be pitting. Oh, never mind. I heard Chris, other than me saying it, but just like we talked about Chris Lyota earlier in the race, and like how, as he will be seeing the white flag here,
not too worried about passing you.
But you know, it's the level of growth. Of course, the Elijah Fisher through the halfway point of the season, we saw these bomb's eye moves in the closing races, 3 wide, and sometimes they work. And obviously, you raced the first half of the season. You know, sometimes they didn't. It wasn't just him. It was a lot of drivers. But like you alluded, the patience, the precision that he's going about it. I feel like the last 3 weeks,
Thanks for not closing that off, Thomas.
from Chicagoland to Indy to tonight, you can really see a little bit of the growth that he has took. And like I said, he's up there in the conversation now. If he can just make it through these S's one more time, like he's going to be a threat for this title. We all knew that coming into this year, but we didn't know quite where he would stack up. And I think this will be an exclamation point. So Daytona, I mean, Robert, you can guess anybody out of these 16 drivers, and I can tell you any one of them can come into the night and win.
Oh yeah, and it's, you know, it's going to be interesting going into Daytona. Will these guys that have already locked in, will they push as hard as they would if they were racing, you know, to try to get in, knowing that it's the last race in the regular season, and then the next week after Daytona is the start of the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see how the guys that have clinched, how they're going to run compared to the guys that are fighting for those last 2 spots.
I think
really,
there's going to be a lot of teamwork at play, but meanwhile, as I believe he's got one more corner to go. It was a valiant effort by Colton Warren and Jordan Jorno and several others. But Robert, if you don't mind, I'll take it away through Murray's corner. For the final time, Elijah Fisher puts on a clinic in Australia and in Bathurst. If nothing does not happen, Robert, you want to take Colton away here?
Yep, Colton having a strong performance, an up and down evening coming into Murray's corner. Going to be securing it as he gets through the corner here for that P2 position. Definitely showing that he will be a force next season.
For sure.
With joining this season late, he's definitely going to give Elijah and I feel like Shane a big run for their money coming in next season.
And off of Murray's corner, perhaps the guy that's going to be strutting his stuff next week at Daytona, Jordan Jorno, capitalizes on all his rivals' misfortune, and he will walk out of tonight third and potentially walks into Daytona with possibly a little bit of breathing room. Let's go ahead and get Elijah Fisher in here. Elijah Fisher, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Dominant night. Then that's the only thing that can be said. Just walk us through how much preparation went into the night. How many late nights as we closed in on this race did you?
Oh, dude. Just an hour. I mean, the night racing itself, I don't know. It wasn't about running practice for me. It was just having experience here in so many different cars and games and studying just in the past of just, you know, watching greats. I mean, not even just this road course, you know, I've been a huge fan of SVG when he got into the sport. I loved AJ Allmendinger too, and once SVG got in, just studying, you know, his moves and the things that he can do around these places, and I don't know, it just translated out there tonight for me.
Robert?
I got a question for you. Since you're talking about, you know, studying SVG and all that, this race, how much were you using the heel toe method?
Not at all. I don't even do it. I don't even do it.
Come on, man.
I can't do it.
I bet
my heels and my toes. I don't have the best ankles, so I don't try to do extra stuff.
I hear you, but hey, it's definitely a dominant performance. What was your mindset when we went into turn 1 at the beginning of the race, and you got that jump on Shane? Did you think that once you got past Shane, you would have a dominant car to kind of hold him off?
Okay.
Or did you
just
think that he was
work.
going to kind of give you a run for your money tonight?
I think Shane Har was a very fast car tonight,
Was that
and
Jordan?
it's really unfortunate for him and Colton with their incidents that they had. I think I would have loved to be able to battle Shane a lot more there, but you know, once I got clear of him in turn one, it just instantly in my head, it's like, okay, I have to focus on what's in front of me. Couldn't check the mirror, but we got that early caution that really, it unsettled the nerves for those laps under caution. And then once we got back going and knowing, you know, the whole shakeup and everything that just happened, it was like, okay, now we got to redo it almost. You know, it's a reset for the race. You know, you get the nerves up, and then once you go back into nerves later on, sometimes I think that's one of the hardest mental battles to go through in racing.
Yeah,
So,
another thing is
rest in peace to,
how tired are you after this race?
Colton. He's
Those
in
many
the
turns for that many
middle
laps.
of- I don't know.
I couldn't hear you there. One second. I gotta mute the iRacing here.
Yeah, I'm bad.
I'm not upset with you. Well, I thought.
Say that again. Sorry about that.
I was saying, how tired are you after this race now? After that many turns, and how long the race was?
It started to get to me. I'd say once I got to about lap 28. I mean, I was looking at just, you know, how many more do we have to go, counting them down, and it just sometimes I just kind of blank out and I'm just staring at the screen and just kind of run the laps. You know, once I actually stand up and take some breaths and get some water, you know, I think I'll feel a little differently. But I mean, it's just the same as any race. You know, I've been doing this for a while, so the conditioning before and after race is always similar routine, you know. But it is tiring. It's, you know, I got an empty water bottle right now and I need to refill it at some point. So.
Well, I got one more question.
I hear you.
I got one more question for you, then we'll let you go. Let you refill that water bottle. Obviously you've been known for the last week that you've been locked in. Probably knew it well before then. Does going into Daytona, and of course I know the answer I'm gonna get, but going into Daytona next week, does Ford, do they shift their urgency to try to help Brent get as many points as he needs going in, or is it just work together and whoever's leading the front will determine that at the end of it? What's the plan for a long 400 miles next week?
You know, with these guys here at Ford, we work together every race as best as we can, but we don't pick a driver. We pick a plan, and we pick a conversation to have about what are we going to communicate on, and whoever's in position is hopefully got the information from everybody else to be able to go out and succeed. Yeah, I mean, we could pick a driver one week, but you never know how races play out. And I'm thankful so much for Mike, Steven, Trevor, and Brent just being so open of a book and just helping, or Thomas, excuse me, not Trevor. But just everybody on this Ford team is just, I can't thank them enough for just being such an open book and learning with me. And you know, I really didn't think at the start of the season I would be, I mean, hardly a playoff contender, and we were sitting 30th in points after Daytona, and I was like, man, just it feels good to know that putting work in and time and everything that goes into this can pay back in a way. I get almost choked up talking about it because it's just, people don't realize, you know, how much that taking your mind off of things going on in real life can just give you something to be passionate about to go out there and do every week. And I can't ask for any different. You know, this is a huge statement for me and a chapter in just my career. You know, I didn't think going into a road course that, you know, I was going to be all that good. I know we had a Sonoma win earlier, but you know, I even with Shane with his couple of errors throughout the night. I mean, we made our errors at the other ones. It's just, you know, I haven't been more proud of myself, I think, in my career in a while. So this is big because I mean, I pick up wins here and there, but it's been a while since I've gotten a big accomplishment, and this one was circled on my calendar for a long time.
Well, with that being said, Elijah Fisher, congratulations once again. Dominant performance. You maxed out on points. You will receive the one bonus point for leading the most laps of 28 out of 35. But we look forward to seeing how you handle next week and the playoff start.
Thank you.
Yep. That being said, we will get second place. Man of few words, as we like to say. And I know Robert loves to try to get him to talk. Colton Ward, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wilhoit up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, Colton. Big question. This race, you were running up there. Early on, you showed that you could mirror Elijah when you were close, and you gained and was putting pressure on him. Did the incidents throughout the long green flag run there play a big part on that gap that was between you and Elijah?
I mean, really, my car felt just super different coming out of pit road, or I just lost my rhythm every time I left pit road, but it just felt like I had no grip exiting turns and stuff, and then I think I headbutted the wall twice.
Headbutted Cade.
Yeah, it definitely you guys, or when you were having those incidents where you were talking about headbutting the walls and stuff, I was actually really amazed that you were able to keep that car going and keep the pace that you were having. You think that if you had a little bit more, you had enough to catch up to Elijah and give him a run for his money, or do you think that, you were pretty content where you were running tonight?
I think it probably could have been a race if I just didn't have that one spin, and then at the beginning I seen Elijah pitted around lap 10, and at the time I was thinking he's gonna like split it in thirds, taking tires, and I just kind of just went out and ran out my fuel. So I think having tires in the long run probably helped too, because that last run I didn't take any tires to try and gain some time, and I don't even think that worked.
I think you came home with about 27 seconds behind. So, and and I would say that is a big plus with the issues that you were having when you were out of your rhythm.
Yeah, I probably should have just taken tires in with like 10 to go. Probably would have finished like with 20 seconds and not 27.
Right.
Yes,
And Garrett, you got anything for Colton?
Yeah, Colton. Jess, obviously the issues. What was the challenges coming into tonight? Of course, it looked like for a while that you didn't really have no challenges, but what were some of the challenges that you felt like yourself and other drivers faced tonight with this, one can say, very unique track?
I mean, really, just your braking points and I don't know, getting loose up on the mountain, because I mean that's where I wrecked. Just so yeah, braking points and right on top of that mountain.
Did brakes did you experience any like brake fade or anything with yours?
Brake fade? I mean, you like I locked my brakes a few times if that's what you mean, but
No,
yeah.
like losing brakes, like you're mashing the gas, but I said that in a mechanic term, but just like were the brakes starting to go away as the run went on?
No, my tires were.
Oh, your tires were. Robert, you got any more things for?
No, I'm just glad we could get Colton to kind of talk a little bit more this week. I think by the end of the season, when we're done interviewing them all all these races, he's gonna be about as a chatty Cathy as Elijah and the rest of the guys. So, good job bringing home that Forky number 42 Chevy in second place, and good luck next week at Daytona.
Thank you. Should watch my wreck at the jump.
we'll try to look at it. All right. Congratulations, Colton, on the P2 finish.
Thank you.
With that being said, before I pull him in here, while we were doing interviews, and I hope people are still watching, this is unofficial because Elijah still has to do the points and all that, but by my calculations, Robert, walking into Daytona, Josh Henderson will only be 10 points above the cut line walking into Daytona. And before I say the other part, let's go ahead and get driver to 84 in here. Giorno, Garrett Jenkins, Robert Wheelhoy up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do. How's it going?
Well, buddy, I've got good news for you. After doing the interviews, an unofficial points will be released, and we'll just know the real answer. But by Raging Idiot Racing Network's calculations, you will walk into Daytona +8 to the cut line. You are the gatekeeper for the 8th spot. We're going to a track that you love so much, and the mentality that you carry to restrictor plate racing. Does this add more pressure, or is this a little bit of relief off your shoulders? And does it change the game plan for Chevrolet next week?
Well, I think it definitely does a little bit of both those first two things. I think I'm definitely relieved to be going into that race where anything can happen above the cut line instead of under it. But I don't know. I mean, it is going to be stressful, especially being such a long race at a plate track. A lot can happen. I'm kind of worried that I'm going to get caught up in something, but I'm going to try not to think about it. I don't really think Chevy's game plan is going to change. It's probably just going to go the way it's always gone. Hopefully, I can be there at the end at Daytona, but honestly, right now, I'm just happy to improve my best finish in Cup.
Robert?
So with that being said, I know I was jumping around and kind of chit-chatting with everybody during practice, and I jumped into the Chevy chat with you, and you posted a lap that put you fourth on the speed charts, and you were kind of surprised that you were that fast. Were you surprised of how well you were able to get around this track tonight, knowing that it was a difficult track?
Absolutely, because I'll say it myself, I'm not a road course guy. I have just started figuring out how to finish road course races decently, so finishing third. All right, man. Finishing third, honestly, I couldn't ask for any better. I wasn't going to beat Colton. I wasn't going to beat Elijah outside of a mistake, and I wasn't even going to beat Shane without him making that mistake, which I feel bad for him. I'm glad he doesn't really have to worry about points at least. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think the only reason I did good in this race is because a year or two back, I watched in-car footage of Ricky Rudd running at Watkins Glen, and I studied his footwork and copied it. And I think because of that, it's honestly the only reason that I even did as good as I did today. SVG, in Sunday's race in real life, SVG used the clutch for heel toe to win that race by a large margin, and I like to think I was the best of the rest tonight with that same technique pretty much, so I'm happy about it for sure. I don't think I was expecting to do this good, and I'll definitely take it.
With that being said, I did ask Elijah because he said that he has been studying SVG for a while and his techniques and footwork and all that. I asked him if he used the heel toe. So are you saying that you've been practicing and trying to master that heel toe brake throttle technique on these road courses?
So I've been for about the last 3 years. I was in a different league in an Xfinity race at the Roval, and I had just watched that footage of Ricky Rudd doing the same thing. And I tried out the heel toe, and that was my first road course race that I finished. So I've been using heel toe for a long time, and it's honestly what's made me more competitive again and again on road courses. I think it's definitely a great strategy to use. You don't have to be fast, obviously, but it is definitely helping me.
Yeah, and I definitely have to say you had a heck of a showing tonight. Um, it's proud to see you come out in the top three. Definitely thought you might have had something there for Colton, but just the way the pit strategies and the green flag run once it got started went. Um, I definitely said that you were a contender to try to challenge them, especially once Shane Hart wrecked out. But I couldn't be more proud of you, especially being part of the Chevy camp and knowing that you're above the cut line right now going into Daytona, which is a strong track for you. Hopefully, we can see another stellar performance. You've had the momentum these past 6, 7 weeks, just grinding away at it, and since then, you've gone from, I think it was what, 64
86.
points out or 86 points out to
Yeah.
to being in. So hopefully that momentum sticks with you. I know once you have that momentum, it kind of helps you with that uh, kind of a confidence that any driver tends to have, um, having
For sure.
good showings like that for this long. So definitely want to say thank you for coming in and spend some time with us, and can't wait to see how next Monday goes here at Daytona.
Thanks, man.
Yep, go enjoy it, bud.
I will.
All right, Garrett, you want to wrap us up for the night?
Yeah, I do. So, results in Elijah Fisher, your winner, Colton Ward. In second, Jordan Jorno, the best of the 5 bubble drivers tonight, P3. Stephen Henning in fourth. Thomas Hernandez, the great performance still showing. We're around top 5. Mike Hauser, rough night for him, but salvages a P6. Bubble drivers 7th through 8th. Josh Williams in 7th. Josh Henderson in 8th. Chris Lyota 9th, another bubble driver. Darcy Har, after a quiet night, trying to keep his nose clean, will bring out 10th. Aaron Stanton will look for better and try to go out and win Daytona, being that he won the ARCA Series opener at Daytona earlier this season on Saturday nights. Brent Hammerhand, the last of the 5 bubble drivers tonight, comes home in 12th. Gordon Glywell, the debut not going how he wanted it, will come home 13th. Cade Cannon 14th. The quest for 3 road course wins in a row will come to an end tonight for Shane Har after a mistake on the last lap, or a mistake earlier in the race for Shane Har will result in a DNF finish, and Hunter Azell rounds out 16th. Real quick, before we go, I will iterate everybody on the, again, unofficial, but what we have calculated going into Daytona. Josh Henderson will walk in with a 10-point lead, or a 10-point gap above the cut line. Jordan Jorno will be the gatekeeper, holding that 8th and Covenant last spot in, 8 points over Chris Lyota. Brent Hammerhand, Jason Williams, their work cut out for them. Hammerhand will enter next week, Robert, 13th. And Jason Williams, kind of a projected long shot, but only out by 20. So it's still going to be one of the best fights to make the playoffs that I think I've ever seen in this league.
Oh yeah, and definitely with it being a Daytona full length 400, it's gonna make it very interesting to see how everything goes and how everybody, you know, turns out and how their strategies are gonna take place. So, um, it definitely, if you haven't been tuning in, and this is your first night tuning in, you definitely don't want to miss next week.
Hell no. And I know I ain't supposed to say that on the broadcast, but it's going to be, ultimately, it's going to be more important than what the Inspire 250 was to start the year. Everybody dreams of winning at Daytona, but for 5 drivers, 2 will walk in to Daytona, or 5 drivers, I should say, is going to walk into Daytona winning on the mind. More importantly, the 8 points. We will do our best during the broadcast to try to keep everybody updated on points throughout the caution period the best we can. But with that being said, we're about 2 minutes past the hour that I'm allowed on YouTube, so to speak. Robert, I appreciate you joining me as always in the booth. And buddy, Daytona's just gonna be fun. And we look forward to seeing what 5 drivers can do and what they're willing to do to make the playoffs. But at the end of next week, 2 drivers are going to realize that they're going to be able to fight for the first ever Inspired Racing League Cup Series Championship. And 3 more will join the rest in the thinking what could have been. But with that being said, I'm Garrett Jenkins. Robert Wilhoit joined me in the booth. It was a great night all around. A lot of carnage. But at the end, Elijah Fisher withstands all of it and goes en route to win number 4. Everybody have a good night, and we will see you again here soon.